going on, fanbots? Hawkeye or Hawkguy here.
And I'm Nix.
And this is the latest episode of So Let Me Tell You a Story. So for today's episode, we ditched Suave Magra and Whatchasay. And it's just good old Nix and I, Nix and me.
Nix and Guy.
Nix and Guy. Tell a story, a personal anecdote if you will, from our shared history. This is a story of actually the very first year that Nix and I became friends, and how we became friends, and all of the magical things that we did. This is one such magical thing.
At the college we went to, our old alma mater, Fiat Lux, basically had like this thing called the Chas connector, the Chas module, and it was a sort of a pre-packaged, like, easier way into college deal. And
it's just supposed to be like, again, courses that are relevant to your major, your interests.
And what Guy means by that is make you go to workshops or not go to workshops and put pictures of your workshop leaders on your papers to pass workshop. Ours was, what, religious myth and imagery or something?
Sure, that's right. The first course we took was a straight art course, right? Art history?
Yeah, art history is what, medieval iconography or something.
And that class was fairly interesting.
I slept through most of it, so I couldn't tell you.
The second was
religious studies.
And then the last one, the most interesting of the whole sequence, was a shame because by that point Nix and I had already become accustomed to not going to class. Was ethnomusicology.
Yep. If you're grappling with what major to pick in college, I definitely recommend checking out ethnomusicology. If you're even in any way culturally and musically minded, check out ethnomusicology.
So for ethnomusicology class, we had to do a presentation.
So basically, the presentation was supposed to be on, I don't even think it was necessarily music, I think it was just choosing a religion and talking about the rituals and whatnot they use.
Sure, that sounds right.
Yeah, because it was like rituals and something. It just happened to be taught by an ethnomusicology professor, and he added his own ethnomusicology flair to it.
Yeah. God, he was the best.
Because yeah, as you'll see later on, the music's going to play a key part in this story. Basically, we were assigned into groups, and each group had to pick a religion and go to a temple or a place of practice for that religion, and just go over the rituals they would use, including, you know, sound and music.
We picked a Buddhist temple.
Yeah, Buddhism in a Buddhist temple.
We hopped in the truck of
a new quasi friend we made.
Someone we were kind of associated with. Yeah. We trusted enough to not murder us and to learn his name.
Yeah, which is really a pretty high level of commitment for Guy and I.
And we drove. Oh man, I literally remember like nothing about the drive, from like getting into the truck to suddenly being in an area where there were like 4 churches in a row, and then there was nothing.
As we were driving, my brain was like, boy, I really hope we stop soon, because every inch further we go, I feel less and less safe. We came to a point where everything had given up on that neighborhood except for this Buddhist temple.
It was amazing. I remember the road leading up to just a dirt road, and it was like nothing around. Everything like before it was like Mad Max levels of destroyed.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's some dude like walking like a fighting dog that was like chewing on the head of another dog or something.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was bad. I know what you're thinking. Us spoiled city boys probably, you know, just got out into the fringe of suburbia and got scared, but no. Guy and I would routinely go on adventures in the neighborhood of the school we went to, and that place was less than safe. So we were no strangers to danger. And
include a little bit of street credit. Nix here did grow up in the bad part of Ocean Beach, and I did grow up in the Bronx. So we're not entirely unfamiliar. Yeah. And we went into the temple, and apparently they drugged us because we don't remember anything of the actual being in the temple event.
I remember going to the temple and being like, wow, this is weird, because it's so nice inside here, and it's so scary outside.
We took pictures where I gave a thumbs up.
We should probably preface this with the fact that the whole thing was to figure out how they use sound and ritual in their practices.
Right.
And for those of you who know anything about Buddhism, you know that there's multiple different flavors of Buddhism, but there's 2 major ones. Mahayana and Theravada.
That sounds right.
One of them uses a bunch of stuff the other one doesn't. So the one we picked, which I'm pretty sure was Theravada.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, it used like no instrumentation or anything. So we got there, we're kind of like, so we're doing a presentation on sound and music and ritual, but there's nothing here. We work really hard for like, I don't know, an hour on this presentation.
That's really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting ready to present it, and so we convene the group.
Right, because there are actually more people in this group than simply the two of us.
And I know what you're thinking, why didn't you tell us about them? Because they didn't do anything.
No. One, we can't really remember. The third member of the group was a friend of ours.
So this other member, which we'll call...
Three.
Three.
The number 3.
Yeah, we'll call 3.
And we're like, yes, ready for this. 3, since you did not come along, we could touch on some points with you really quickly. And 3 goes, no, it's fine. I've done some research on my own.
And at this point, I'm like, oh, so she's prepared. And I glance down at her hands, and she's holding a piece of notebook paper, which is folded in half and mostly crumpled, and has, I don't know, 2 lines written on it. So I was like, oh, she's not prepared.
So we stand up in front of the class, and things go fairly well for a team that has not actually prepared together.
Yeah.
Teammate number 4 says something.
I don't think there was a 4th teammate.
I'm telling you there was one more person.
Yeah.
And then Nick said something which coincided with what the first person said. And then I said something which once again made it seem as if we had prepared this together.
Yeah, and we were nailing it at this point. Like, we were on fleek with this, alright? Guy and I, if you can't tell, we killed every presentation we do together. So we were like nailing it. We were weaving this tapestry, right? We were like, yeah, and like, you know, we've listened to a lot of presentations about music, but we must always remember that for everything there is an opposite, and in this case the opposite is silence, and that can have just as much meaning as music. In fact, it can even have sometimes more meaning.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was literally like, it was a slam dunk.
Then I hand the baton off to number 3, and she says,
yeah, and they have this really cool drum thingy that they spin and it makes noise.
for the remainder of the 5 or so minute presentation, it was 3 teammates agreeing wholeheartedly that there is no music involved, and then one person stating just full blast wholeheartedly, no, I swear, they use this drum. And alright, and then we'll finish our presentations. The 3 of us would go, and then there was again a little gap where I can only imagine 3 was thinking, well, what do I do at this point? Do I continue on, full steam ahead? Do I backpedal? Nah, just go for it.
I think the great moral of the story is, you know, even in a moment where someone crash and burns horrendously, if you maintain confidence, it will almost always be a fun tale for someone else to remember, if not for you.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that, because I'm almost entirely sure that every time Nix and I do one of these group stories, we're going to be telling one about Trask. Please comment down below if you either enjoyed it or if you have similar fun tales from school, from work, from regular old life. We just want to hear them.
If you want to hear more great stories, you should definitely subscribe to all things Cinema Robots. That means Facebook, that means Twitter, that means YouTube, that means blog, that means everything.
They'll be hunting us down and sending us letters to our home.
Yep.
Do like Young Guy's gonna do in the credits here and give us a thumbs up. Don't give yourself a thumbs up too.
While you
look in the mirror and press like while you give yourself a thumbs up, because you're making such a good decision. As always, remember who you are and what you are.
Don't go causing any trouble out there in that big bad world.
The Buddhists like to use this drum in their rituals.
Although there's sometimes I do regret not going to class, like the time that apparently our professor threw vodka on the floor and then tried to light it on fire, but it failed because she couldn't match.